This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everybody. Wow. Maybe I need to yell or something.
This is our first meeting in here. There are 4 microphones in the ceiling, and they will pick up any little conversation, and that will be broadcast to whoever's listening online. We won't hear it in here, but they're super sensitive microphones, so just keep that.
Don't say anything bad.
Keep that in mind. But if everybody can hear, then we can just do without these.
All right, so I'm told we do have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. And again, good morning and welcome, everybody. First thing is an opportunity for public comments. So do we have anybody in the public that would like to speak? I don't think so, right?
James, is there anybody online?
No.
There's nobody.
I know
No one online, so we're going to go ahead and move on to staff updates. Ryan's going to give us the staff updates.
Thank you, Mayor. It's good to see everybody this morning in person. Thank you for attending. As you'll see on the screen and in your packet, we have listed our upcoming Killeen-Temple meetings. The August 4th meeting for TAC shows to be electronic. That will probably be an in-person meeting now as well as the rest. So moving forward, will probably be all in-person meetings with the ability for the public to listen in via Zoom or a web platform, kind of like we're doing today. The 2045 MTP Reprioritization, that schedule is also displayed on the screen. We are at the very end of that, and action will happen on that today. We do have an administrative amendment to the FY 21-24 TIP and the 2045 MTP. That is for the Temple Outer Loop West Phase 1 project. The only amendment to that is a project let date, so that does not need to go through any formal process. It's just administrative. There are 2 potential formal amendments, and I know we touched on this at the last meeting, but these are for the Temple Outer Loop West Phase 1 project and the South First Street Veterans Memorial Boulevard Phase 2 project. These were 2 projects that were picked up by Congressman Carter's office for community project funding. We have not heard if those projects will be funded, but if they are, due to the additional funding coming in, a formal amendment will be needed, and we'll have to go through the whole public process and all the formalities. The federal and state updates. In your packet, staff have included some information on the Invest in America Act, as well as there was another, I thought there was a transit. Oh, there it is. And then, so the Invest in America Act, and then with the COVID relief funding, the Transportation Commission approved an $89 million in transit funding. Like I mentioned to the TAC, if you look at that information that's presented, you'll see Hill Country Transit District is in there. I just want to make everybody aware that these are not additional funds for Hill Country Transit. These are funds that they traditionally receive. So they weren't one of the projects that were picked up to get additional COVID funding, even though they're listed within that. Air quality, the readings were 69 and 67. And that concludes my staff update, Mayor.
Perfect. Thank you. Any questions for staff? All right, moving on to our next item. And the next item is an action item regarding approval of our minutes from our June 16, 2021 meeting. Any questions or comments? If not, entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Motion.
Second.
Got a second? All those in favor, just say aye.
Aye.
Motion's approved. Next item is a discussion and an action item regarding approval of amendments of the FY 20 to 21 Unified Planning Work Program for task number 1 and task 1.4. Ryan.
Everybody, you've seen this before, I'm sure, as well, if you were at the previous meeting. This is just a request to move funds from within task 1, from subtask 1.1 to subtask 1.4, and that is to provide a third of the purchase cost of the new equipment in this room, so we can hold these meetings virtually and have public participation with the ability to do that. So this is just moving funds within one task so that we could provide this equipment.
Questions? Very good. This is a action item, so we need a motion on this. Motion from the mayor for second. We got a motion and a second. All those in favor, just say aye. Aye. Okay, I don't think we have any opposition, right? All right, next item number 7, right? Number 6. It's also a discussion and item regarding the approval of the FY 22-23 UPWP. Right.
This is, like the mayor said, an action item to approve the FY 22 to 23 Unified Planning Work Program. This is the document that the staff used for the budget, to budget all of our items, describe the efforts and work that we're going to complete. We submitted our 22 to 23 draft to the policy board last month for review and comment. We also submitted that to TxDOT for review and comment. TxDOT sent the draft back. We made the revisions that they requested. Those are all included in the packet. And after approval today, if it's approved, we will go ahead and send our finalized approved UPWP to TxDOT.
Questions on this one? Seeing none, this is a motion to have action items. Entertain a motion. A motion in a second. All those in favor, just say aye. Aye. In opposition, motion carries. Next item is also a discussion and action item regarding approval of amendments to FY 21-24 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, and the 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan. This is pages 77 through 90. I think Kendra has this one.
Yes, y'all are familiar with the listing that went out for public involvement. We did not receive any public involvement comments back during that time. We did hold a 15-day period with 2 public comment opportunities. So again, no public comment was received. We have the full list as well as all of the sample of the tip section that is included in your packet. But again, no changes were made to that, and it is ready for your consideration.
Questions? Kendra? Good. This one again, action items. We do need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion. We have a second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All those in favor, just say aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Unanimous. Man, this is a fast meeting. We're already down to our last item. Discussion item regarding public input received through June 2021. Did we receive anything?
Or no new comments?
There's the comments. If you want to look at them. You got any questions on those? All right. Wow. We're down to our last item, member comments. Anybody have anything, any questions, any comments, anything to say? I know we've missed you guys a long time, so we've been out without having to associate with each other, so.
With 4 microphones in the ceiling, you really think anybody's going to say anything?
Yeah, that's right.
Come on, Max.
Big brother now is watching you. All right. So if there's nothing further, we're got one. Go ahead, Jim.
I just want to make everybody aware, in the most recent legislative session, air quality funding was reinstituted for several parts of the region, of the state. On a floor amendment at the last minute, the K-Tempo area was line item vetoed from the appropriations bill along with the Waco area. The language in the bill is permissive, which allows TCEQ to determine a funding allocation. And so you may see or hear about a joint letter from the Waco area and from our area that we're going to ask our legislative delegation to send to TCEQ on our behalf, encouraging TCEQ to correct the administrative error of the line out by writing us into their sub-allocation formula. So that's an attempt to reestablish the air quality funding that was zeroed out about 2 biennia ago. So if you see that and you have any questions, don't be afraid to give me a call or call me.
And that was just an error.
Depends on who you ask. Donna Howard on the floor. Well, Mayor, I'm taking your meeting and you did so effectively in this.
You got a lot of time.
Okay. These funds are traditionally distributed by metropolitan service areas. So Killeen-Temple MSA has traditionally been in this pocket. And so there's a set amount of money and everybody uses the pot. It was an MSA. 2 biennia ago, San Antonio had one of their legislators make a floor amendment at the last minute that gave each of their counties by name a slice of the pie. So San Antonio went from 1 slice of pie to 8 slices of pie. And in that, everybody else got cut. So Representative Howard, in an attempt to give it back to San Antonio this legislative session, for lack of a better way to put it, at the last minute decided to line item certain counties. And when he saw Bell, Coryell, and Passus, which are the counties that are represented in K-Tempo, he thought that they were in the San Antonio region because we were listed by county, not by MSA. Our staff made a mistake, so they line item on the floor when they were marking up that bill. So we were the collateral damage, in my opinion, to a let's get back to San Antonio effort. That's what I mean. And we'll get that fixed hopefully in the next legislative session. But until then, if we want funding, we have to get it from TCEQ. And so we're going to go through our legislative delegation. And we have assurances that Representative Howard will sign a support letter saying, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. By all means, go get some. About $250,000, $300,000, so it's not insane. But I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have.
We're good. Sir.
I meant to say this during the staff update. Officer elections for K-Tempo, we'll be holding those in September. If you're interested in chair or vice chair position, please feel free to email me, but so I can convey that this before elections, please.
And I want to welcome our staff. You know, we got our newest council member, Councilmember Wilkerson, part of K-Temple now. And no, Mrs. Nash King has been part of it, but I think this is the first time he came out, right? First one, really? Yeah, been on Zoom. So this is what they look like in person. All right. Anybody else that's here that we haven't seen?
David Williams is a new member representing Fantastic.
Welcome, sir. Yeah, you know. So this is it. Usually we're pretty quick. I mean, this was took me longer to drive up here than the actual meeting. Appreciate you guys coming. And with that said, we are adjourned.